Hello everybody and welcome to this brand new video here on Blurb. My name is Owen and we are driving something a little bit more unusual to the channel. In fact, it's a lot more unusual to the channel. This is a Citroen DS4. It is the crossover of the DS3 stroke Citroen C4. Its competitor is the Nissan Duke.
Stupid like double bug eyes.
Which you can kind of see why if you've ever sat in a Nissan Duke. It's very similarly laid out, which of course this car's technically somewhat identical to the Nissans. Now this one in particular that I'm driving is our new family car. I say new, this being a 12 plate. Don't make a mockery of the reg plate, if you mind. I've still got the insignia, don't worry about that, but this is the new family car that we commute in. This particular car has the very common and very bulletproof 1.6 HDI Peugeot engine. And even though it says it's only got 110 brake horse, it feels quite nimble. Now this car's quite odd. The ride height of this is quite tall, and you can see that in the arch gap between the wheel and the arch. Yet it is still very nimble, very agile, should we say, in relation to its cornering capabilities. But it's quite a nice place to be. Leather steering wheel, decent surround system. You've got electronic handbrake. Everything's very soft touch, and then you've got this Zenith hideaway sort of massive windscreen that gives you, obviously at night time, which is better, a bigger aerial view. Very similar to the way the Astra H has adopted the pan roof, although it wasn't a pan roof, it was more so a pan windscreen, which this follows the same sort of principle. You can fold away the extension or the sun visor back, and it just gives you a much bigger windscreen. And somehow, even though this is a much larger windscreen, this windscreen, if we ever needed to replace it, is still cheaper than my Insignia's windscreen replacement. But it's quite a nice little car, this. I mean, I say it's little, it is a little car, but it gives a big personality type feel to it. You know, it's tall, it's got a decent sized boot. The back seats are small and cramped, but livable. You can deal with that sort of thing. You know, it's even got the premium washer jets, which the Insignia doesn't have anymore. The older generation did. It's got cornering lights where, as you go around a corner at night time, the fog lights turn on individually, which you don't get that in most cars, not even in the Insignia. You get that in your standard Volkswagens, and apparently on a DS4 as well. Now the DS4 has quite a few quirks and features. Do you know what? For a car of its price, and a car even in its era when it was new, it's got a lot of stuff that most cars tend not to have. Now, if you wanted to open the fuel cap for this car, all you've got to do is press this little button here on the side, and opens the fuel cap. It's brilliant. You open the boot, ignore the mess. But in here on this side, as you can see, is the boot light. And if you pull it out, it becomes a torch. Now tell me what other manufacturers have that. I'm sure there's a few, but in a Citroen? Now there are a couple of small things with this car that's a bit bizarre, weird. This being a 5-door car, family hatchback, these windows, as you can see on the door, don't open. So they are completely static. I get a bit claustrophobic now, so I can't open it. Ow. Ow.
That was undignified.
Every car I've owned, it has to pass the horn test. And for a French car, that passes the horn test. It's not squeaky, it's not drony or pitiful, in other words. But this, it's actually not bad. And I love the display, the dashboard. You know, it's very easily read. You can change the colours of it. I mean, you can change the colour of your instrument cluster. You don't get that in some cars. You don't even get that in the Insignia. And another thing you don't get in the Insignia, but you do get in this car, and this really helped me a while ago when I had a bad back, is you have pulsating massaging seats. Now you tell me, on a, I would say it's entry level because it hasn't got the sat nav bit of it. You don't get that in many cars. Not at this price point. This car drives really, really well, even around town. My only complaint, bar maybe some of the rattling in here, which, let's be honest, my Insignia has the same sort of thing, is the gearbox. The gearbox is okay when you really want to pace it, but in other words, it can feel a little bit too clunky. It's not smooth, it's just clunky. Does anybody else follow what I mean by that? It doesn't bode you with confidence all too much. Another thing with this car, which does tickle me from time to time, is you can change the noise settings in the car. When I say the noise settings, you can change the indicators. You can change when you leave your door open. You can change when you've left your keys in the car. You can change the bong noise. And it is annoyingly funny. Very annoyingly funny. And I'll demonstrate that for you now. Right, here is an appropriate place to test out the bongingness of this car. One in which sounds like the apocalypse. Something's going to blow up. And then there's this. The keys are in the car. Or there is this one. So I can do this because we're on a private road. Because it should bong at me, he says. Wait for it. I think that kind of sets the tone really in relation to what this car is like. But I love it. It's even got a half-cut steering wheel. Now, performance test. Full down. Not the quickest thing in the world, but if you need to go somewhere a little bit quickly, it will it'll provide it to you. I'll also mention this as well. The brakes are super sharp. When we got this car, the rear brakes and the front brakes were just changed, and every time I drive this car, just after I've driven my Insignia, it always shocks me to the braking power of this thing. Just tapping the brakes. It's that wasn't foot to the floor brakes either. That was just a tap. So you've got to be really ginger and gentle with the brake pedal a little bit, because it does, honestly, it can catch you out. It's caught me out a couple of times. I just love this massive windscreen. It does give you such a more aerial view of the world, and it doesn't feel as boring. I mean, this car's got a black roof lining, and it can make this car look quite dark, but because of this, there is plenty of light in this car, plenty of it, and it may seem like quite a dull car, but it's got so many features that some cars just don't have. You know, because you can pick these DS4s up now between 2 and maybe 5 grand. I mean, the aircon in this works blisteringly well. It's that cold, and it drives perfect. And you've got dual climate, which my Insignia has, and my Insignia has less features, a lot less features than this car, and a lot less quirks. And that was a lot more to buy. Now, granted, there is 6 years difference between this and the Insignia. I'll give it its due there. This is a 12 plate car, and it's a Citroen, which is why Citroen are now known as DS rather than Citroen, although everybody keeps calling them Citroen, the same way as Seat prefer to now call themselves Cupra rather than Seat. But I suppose it's just one of those things, really. I quite like this car. I think it's very comfortable to drive. I love the ride height. I love the massage seats. I love every quirk and feature about this car. I do have a sort of complaint with the sound system. The sound system's good, only if you're playing through the radio and the correct app, whereas my car doesn't really care wherever I play it from. It plays really well. But this car seems to have a couple of issues where it sounds tinny using certain apps or certain ways of connecting the phone via Bluetooth. And then also I have the gearbox as a complaint, but then it does the job. You know, it probably felt a lot better than this when it was new, but that's just the way this is. I mean, this car is on 89,000 miles, very close to 90k, and we've had this car for a little bit now. I don't want to say I've just recently got this car. We've had this car for a good couple of months, and I haven't made many videos in the last couple of months because I've just been too busy, too occupied with other things. And as I said in my last videos, last couple of videos content will be slow, so you'll have to bear with me. And you know, we've had this car longer than the last video I made with the Vectra, and there is an update to the cars, which I will make in a further video very soon. Anyways, guys, thank you guys for watching this video. It's probably one of the shorter videos. I keep saying this and I end up it doesn't, but it might be one of the shorter videos that I do on a car that we're recently just bringing to the channel. But I quite like this car. It's really comfortable, it does the job, it's an awesome family car for the money, and you can have a few laughs with it too. So thank you guys for watching. If you like this video and you want to see more, click that like and subscribe button. And until next time, guys, I shall see you in the next one. Take care, drive safe, and if you live in Wales, just like myself, I empathise you with the 20 mile an hour zone.